Here's another broadcast on Jimmy Licauco live. Our topic today is something that has intrigued a lot of people since ancient times. Dreams. What are dreams? What are their importance? What are the uses, application, if any? Or are they just products of imagination? We shall discuss this in only 30 minutes. But if you have questions, we can go beyond that. Dreams have been defined in so many ways, and it has interested people all over the world since ancient times. Dreams have always figured in stories of people and the prophets during the biblical times, and even before that, during the Egyptians, the ancient Greeks are known to have an interest in dreams. Dreams are defined or can be defined as coming from your subconscious mind. There's the language of your subconscious mind. That is one definition of dreams. It is a language. And being a language, it has to have certain interpretation or analysis or knowledge of its words or the way it is presented. It has to be interpreted. Like if you don't know French, then you have to learn the meaning of different words. In the same way, in dreams, it's a language, and that language has to be interpreted, just like any language. No, if you don't know how to speak French or Polish or Japanese, it has to be interpreted or explained in a language that you understand. The same way as in dreams, it's very mysterious. And that's why many people consider it only imaginary and a product of just imagination. But are dreams really that unimportant? If so, why are they the subject of so much interest in the world? When we are asleep, we're oblivious to what's happening around us. We don't know what's happening around us, what people are saying. You are asleep. We are dead as far as they was living, the people who were awake are concerned. But then it's during this time that the mind becomes very active, as if living in another world. It can be pleasant, it can be unpleasant, it can be happy, or it can be violent. And people have become scared of dreams and consider it unimportant. But if it is so unimportant, why is it that so many wise people have given dreams much importance? During biblical times, the dream interpreters are regarded as prophets. They're regarded as wise men, regarded as being close to God, as knowing the thinking of God, like David in the Bible, who interpreted the king's or the Pharaoh's dream and saved the kingdom. In the case of during the Middle Ages, for example, people who are good in dreams, who can interpret dreams, can tell the future through dreams, are considered witches. And they are persecuted by the Inquisition, the Holy Inquisition of the Catholic Church. And they are tortured and burned at stakes because they believe that nobody can tell the future. If you can tell the future, if you have certain powers, ability to read minds, for example, that means you are in cahoots with the devil. You're in league with the devil, and therefore you are punished and burn at the stakes, like what they did to Joan of Arc in France and so many other people. According to some statistics, the Catholic Church Inquisition program killed around the lowest estimate is 500,000 people to about 2,000, 2,500,000 to 3 million people were killed by the Catholic Church during the Inquisition, sanctioned by the Pope. In fact, it's the Pope, I forgot his name, this Pope who initiated or began this Inquisition by a decree. And anyone who is able to tell the future, who could read minds, and other supernatural things are considered witches and burned at the stakes. Well, now at least those people who know how to interpret dreams are not considered witches, but they are also quite feared. No, in ancient Greece, people who come to some healers in Greece, they have a method of interpreting dreams. They or inducing dreams. They make them sleep in a cave. It's actually a short or cave or a place where there is a hole where you can see the face or the head of the person that's lying down. And they know that the person is dreaming, and sometimes they talk during the dream and they interpret dreams. And that's how they did it in ancient Greece. Modern people consider dream just nonsense, nothing to be uh, taken seriously about. But in the, I think it was 19th century, there are certain psychologists, Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, who began to say that dreams are very important. They are avenues to know the secrets of a person's mind, the secrets of what they call the unconscious. And sometimes they call it subconscious, and some certain psychologists call this. I don't even know the distinction between the two. But for me, conscious and subconscious, subconscious and unconscious, almost the same. Sigmund Freud became famous for his studies about dreams, which are not no longer being believed in today by psychologists. And it is people like Alfred Adler, Eysenck, and of course Carl Jung that have dominated the field of psychology. And according to Carl Jung, dreams are important because it can be a means towards integration of the personality. That through dreams you can tell what's happening to the individual's psyche and the subconscious. In the modern times, probably the most important studies of dreams were conducted by Stanley Krippner and Montague Ullman at the Maimonides Dream Laboratory in Brooklyn, New York, in the 70s. And they discovered certain interesting things about dreams. For example, they discovered that you can influence a person's dream while the person is dreaming. You can talk to the person and influence the dream from the outside. You can even influence a person to not only to think, but to do something when they wake up. And the induction is done during the dream state. So these are some of the discoveries. Also, another important discovery is the knowledge of when do you know a person is dreaming? And they found out that when you see a person sleeping and moving his eyelids rapidly, that's called rapid eye movement. That means he is dreaming. And they try to know what happens to people who stop from dreaming, who is prevented from dreaming. When they see the REM movement, they wake up the person, and therefore he never is able to dream. And what happened to these people? They become emotionally unstable, had personality problems, and memory, emotional problems. In other words, what they found out is dreams are important for the sanity of people. Dreams are important. And it's only we, supposedly highly intelligent, more than beings, consider dreams nonsense. And we often hear, don't think about it, don't be worried, but that's just a dream. It's nothing. It means nothing. But is it? Dreams have played a very important role during biblical times. For example, it said the interpretation of dreams can save a kingdom. Mm. And there are many questions about dreams, like why do you often dream about a person whom you do not know, or some loved ones? When you dream of falling teeth, does it mean that you're going to die, or somebody will die in the family? I know, I remember one time I was being interviewed by Corina Sanchez over DCMM. That's a long time ago. And we were talking about dreams. And Corina asked me, Jimmy, is it true that when you dream that your teeth are falling, that means you're going to die or somebody in the family will die? I said, no, not necessarily. It doesn't mean that. And what does it mean? She said, well, it may only mean that you have to visit your dentist. Something might be wrong with your teeth. And she laughed, ikaw naman eh. Dinuloko mo ako eh. Sabi ko, no, Corina, I'm serious. The dream of falling teeth does not always mean death. No, it can be a warning about your health, about your teeth. So visit your dentist and find out. But if you're in a community where the meaning of that dream is death, then that is the meaning. But if you don't believe in it, you've never heard of that interpretation, and you dream of falling teeth, that is not necessarily the interpretation. You see, so it depends on the conditioning for that kind of a dream. So dreams must be interpreted individually. I have often been asked, Jimmy, can you interpret my dream? And that tells me it's a dream. I said, no, I cannot, because for me to interpret the dream, I must know you. I must know a lot about you. Dreams can be interpreted only in the context of the individual dreaming. You cannot interpret a dream for somebody you don't know. And sometimes I receive letters, I don't even know whether it's male or female, how old that person is, whether that person is married or single, and what is happening to his or her life, no, in the present moment, or when the dream happened. Oh, by the way, if a dream happened 10 years ago, then you have to know what's happening to the person 10 years ago and not the present, because it could have changed. So you will be wrong in interpreting the dream if you interpret it in the present when the dream happened 10 years ago. So it must be interpreted in the context of dreamer's life. And therefore, it's very difficult, or I mean, I don't attempt to interpret the dream of a person whose background I do not know. I have to ask a lot of questions. Then probably I can have an idea what the dream is telling the person. So dreams can tell the past, can be about the present, and can be about the future. And most of the time, it is about the future that people are concerned with. But I'll tell you a story one time. It happened to me that I dreamed of an incident. I was dreaming, and the incident was really happening at the time I was dreaming it. I remember it happened in 1978 or 79. We just moved from Santa Ana to here in BF home, near the BF home in Tahanan village in Paranaque. There were only 4 or 5 houses at the time, and we don't even have curtains on the window because we just newly transferred. and we didn't have so much furniture at the time. Yeah, in fact, there was no furniture at that time at all. We have not yet moved in all the furniture. And I have a library on the first floor of the second of the two-story house. And about 9:30, I felt very uneasy, and I went up and tried to sleep. I couldn't. And then about 1 o'clock, I was dreaming, and the dream was there were robbers entered the house. Then I heard a knock on the door. And my son, who was about maybe 12, 13 years old, I can't remember what, went to the CR and saw a man without any shirt and dark. Thought it was me, but then he saw the figure of the person and the skin. It's not me, so he knocked on the door. There were robbers. Two or three of them entered the house, and they were coming to our room and the upstairs to get the television. Oh, they got a lot of things. They entered the back door, you know, forced open the back door. And they got, at the time, I had tape recorders, I had typewriters, and this thing, appliances mainly. And they were after the television in our room. When I woke up and I ran after them, which is really a bad idea. I should not have done that because these people are usually armed and dangerous. But I saw them and they were scampering out and jumped over the fence and ran towards the perimeter wall, the perimeter fence of the subdivision. We were very near the perimeter fence, and that's why it was easy for them to get in. But the important or the interesting thing about it is that I was dreaming of that incident at the time it was happening, and that was something that cannot be forgotten. So how do we interpret dreams? There are many ways, no? And is it okay for us to use a dream dictionary? No. The short answer is no. Unless you want to have some fun, then you can use a dictionary, but don't take it seriously. Because dreams cannot be interpreted in a universal way. I mean, dream symbols cannot be interpreted in a general way. If somebody dreams of a snake, it may mean differently from somebody else dreaming of a snake, depending on what's happening to that person's life. A 10-year-old dreaming of a snake is different meaning from a 70-year-old dreaming the same thing. So it has to be interpreted individually. Many other questions are up. In fact, I think there was one that got flashed. That flashed. I saw a question about, I think, somebody dreaming about a loved one or a mother or a close relative. What does it mean? Well, it can mean many things. Yes, since I don't know what's happening to your life, I cannot interpret it properly. But if that person um, who was dreaming had somebody or who knows who recently died, it's very possible that this person who died is just visiting and comforting her. That's one interpretation, but that's not the only interpretation. So it depends again on what's happening to your life. So why are dreams not given importance? Because precisely we cannot interpret it. There are two kinds of dreams. One dream is symbolic, that it people who or circumstances that are depicted in dreams represent other things. They are just symbols or they're metaphors. But some dreams are literal. No? Now, how do you know whether your dream is literal or not? You cannot at the beginning. That's why you have to write down your dreams so you can remember. And I've always advocated or suggested people to have a dream journal. Excuse me. A dream journal is any notebook where you put down your dreams. You don't have to write all the details of the dream, but not just the highlights, so that you can remember it and then put the details in the morning when you wake up. By keeping a dream journal, you will be able to tell whether your dream is symbolic or literal by knowing what happens after the dream. So that's one way where which you are able to help control, or not control, but interpret your dreams. One discarded interpretation of dream was the one by Sigmund Freud, the Viennese psychologist, who interpreted dreams as merely suppressed desires, you see, or suppressed ego, especially sexual desires. So he interpreted everything that you dream from a sexual standpoint. It's called the pansexualism theory of Sigmund Freud, which is no longer being followed by people, because there are dreams that are very spiritual. In fact, there are some theories say that every dream, no matter how insignificant or short, has a spiritual component if you dig deeper and deeper into it. There is a theory or story that in Malaysia, there is a group of indigenous people called the Senoi tribe, Senoi, Senoi, that live in the mountains of Malaysia. They're called the Dream People because their whole life, the community life, revolves on dreams. It's a controversial uh, theory, or the existence of these people is controversial. Some people say it's just imaginary. No, there's no such thing as a Senoi tribe in Malaysia. There are some psychologists from UCLA who are supposed to have studied it and have certain interesting stories of how these people uh, uh, live in a way that dreams become a central point in their lives. According to this story, and the reason why they're called dream people is that they give dreams very importance that no other tribe or community or country has ever done. Every morning in each household in the tribe of the Senoi, the the father or the head of the family will ask each one, the children and the wife, to tell their dreams. And you cannot say you have no dream because they're expected to have a dream. So each one of them tells the dream. And then they discuss the dream, the meaning of the dream among themselves. And then they choose the dream that would be presented to the tribe. So after that, each of the tribe members are seated in a council, the whole tribe. And each tribe or family is asked to tell the rest, about the dream, and the others try to interpret it. And they adopt one dream among them to be the project of the tribe, and that's how the tradition how totems develop, no? That they represent dreams. And so the Australian Aborigines also, they call living the dream time. They don't distinguish living alive or awake and dreaming. They're a continuity of life. So there are many different interpretations of how people regard dreams. In modern times, some people believe in it, most do not. But if I were you, I'd try to study it because there's a lot of things you can know about yourself, about your family, about yourself, about you can learn about your state of health. Sometimes people can dream about what's happening to them through dreams. Dreams can tell the future, can help you to prevent accidents, for example. Dreams. You can find lost objects. I've taught some of my students how to dream to find a lost object, and at least one or two of them found a jewelry. One is an earring, I think, found in a very unlikely place through a dream. She saw where it was, in the dream, and she looked for it in that place, and she found it. And there are several others. So dreams have some significance, practical significance, or importance. No, they are not to be dismissed as very lightly. So if I can only convince people now that to take dreams seriously by jotting down your dream, having a dream journal, then I would have achieved my purpose of having this program. If you have questions, well, we could probably have a little time for that. No? Okay, that's one. Ramos Alam. Why is it I still dream of my mom, even though she passed away 5 years ago? Does it mean she has a message for me? It is possible. It is possible if the dream is persistent, and also, especially if some other members of your family dreaming the same thing or the same person, then it is possible she has a message. Otherwise, it may not. She may only be greeting yourself, but 5 years is a long time. So it is possible that she is trying to convey a message, and it would be interesting to know what it is. Okay. I am dreaming I'm flying, says Dominic. Dominic, what is the meaning of it? Okay. Flying dreams, and I've had this kind of dreams also. When you dream that you are flying in your dream, you're actually flying in your astral body, but your physical body is asleep, and you dream that you're floating and flying like Superman. That means that your astral body is out of your physical body. So just enjoy it. There's no harm to it. So Kevin Patrick Salem. Oh, Salem, you. Sir Jimmy, good afternoon. How do we know if our dream is spiritual or not biological in nature? Okay, the language of the subconscious. It's difficult to know this at the beginning. That's why it's important to have a dream journal. By keeping a dream journal and then analyzing your dream after a certain period, after a few months, you will see a pattern. And you will see where you can relate the dream to what's happening in your life. And you'll be able to interpret whether your dream is spiritual, whether your dream is literal or symbolic. And that's the only way you can determine that, no? Is to have an experience of the dreams after several months. You will know. Okay, Dominic or Salam, you. Thank you for the question. Virgilio Alano, what does flowing water in the faucet mean? Okay, I don't know. I don't know what it means. I have been asked often, is it good to use the dream dictionary? They're useless. There are no universal meaning of dreams that's true for everybody. For example, the one who asked a question about flowing water. I don't know what's happening to your life. I don't know how old you are. I don't know whether you're married or not. I don't know what your problems are. How can I interpret what that dream means? But if you tell me all these things about your life, but what's happening to you, it is possible that I may be able to interpret it. Dream dictionaries are useless unless you just want to have fun. So you can use the dream dictionaries and see whether your interpretation is the same as what the author is saying. But there is no universal symbol for dream. Each symbol is dependent on the individual person's life and background and problems and concerns. So don't believe this dream dictionary is a waste of time most of the time, unless you just want to have fun. Mergilu Alano asks, I know, this is the one who asked about flowing water. Rodsel RDC, Dison, parang radio station pangalan ito, no? Is it true that dreams are reflection of one's unsolved issues and repressed emotions? Yeah, that's one interpretation of dreams. That's the only one. Sometimes a reflection of what's going to happen. So there is several meaning dreams. That's why you need to interpret them. It does not always mean that, no, that's unresolved issues. But most dreams are unresolved issues. That's something about your emotional life. And as I said, dreams are the language of the subconscious mind or the unconscious mind, and therefore it has to be interpreted. Any other question? Eliseo Saavedra, moy, haba nito. Hope you read my comment. Ewan ko, a few weeks ago, I dreamt that a loved one of an acquaintance would die. I brushed it aside because it was a bit ambiguous, although I perfectly understood it was somewhat related. But I learned that his father died a few years ago. Could it be my dream was somewhat prophetic or related to clairvoyance? If so, why me? We are not that close. We are just acquainted because we are in the same group. I also dreamed that a loved one of another church. Well, being close can mean several things. You can be close in the physical when you're alive, physically close or emotionally close. But there are people who are not really close who are actually psychically connected, or sometimes they could have some karmic connection with each other, and therefore it is possible for you to dream of each other. Sometimes there's telepathic communication during sleep, and that's why you dream of that particular person, even though not close to you. So that's why it's difficult to interpret the dream unless you know the context in which the dream happens. Okay, we don't have too much time, and I just want to thank everyone for watching and for participating in this show. And if there are any questions or suggestions, you may call 0998 988 6292 or email jaime@yahoo.com. We are going to have a seminar on soulmates, karma, and reincarnation through Zoom or via Zoom on February 6th. I think that's a Saturday, or from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on soulmates, karma, and reincarnation. We shall talk about the proof of reincarnation, answers to objections to reincarnation. We shall discuss the meaning of this. We'll discuss what karma is all about and correct the misunderstandings about karma. And finally, we'll talk about soulmates, how to know whether you met your soulmate, and how to find the perfect partner for you through a very powerful brain programming method. And that is on February 6th. And there is an enrollment fee of 3,000. It's a 3-hour program. There's an enrollment fee of 3,000, which the details of which we can tell you when you call our numbers. So what else? If there's any suggestion on the next week's topic, just let us know by calling us or emailing us. So thank you for watching. This is Jimmy Licauco signing off for now.